Hi guys, welcome to another edition of Gold Bazan. Today we have a special guest that hopefully down the line he's going to be joining Team Millie. We have Daniel Norouzi here, Danish Iranian footballer that currently is playing for VP, which is not, it's in Denmark, but it's not in the Superliga, which is first division, the second division. He's loaned from Brøndby, but I just got the news that he's not on loan with him anymore, so we're going to be discussing about his life, why he pursued this, and he's ever gotten a call from the Iranian Federation and what he's trying to pursue. How you doing today, Daniel?
I'm fine. As I told you just before, I just came home from 2 hard trainings and taking care of my body, getting something to eat. It's called Vejle Boldklub, and it's actually a pretty common known club in Denmark. It has a lot of history. Played many European games in the 80s, and it's actually a big club. Also the surroundings, and so it's actually a nice place to be.
So let me just start off the bat. Could you just discuss about, I know you're Iranian, you grew up with Iranian parents. So did you ever live in Iran, or did you just, were you always growing up in Denmark?
I was born and raised in Denmark. My parents came to Denmark around 30 years ago. They came here to start a new life. I was born here. I was aware of my big family in Iran, but in Denmark I don't have that much family. I grew up in Denmark, in the Danish culture. I speak Farsi. I've been to Iran 3 times, but 2 times that I remember going back, visiting family, staying in Tehran, where my family lives. And I actually enjoy going back, seeing how my family is, seeing what culture, what neighborhood my parents grew up in, getting in touch with that side of my family.
Beautiful. And just speaking of which, from what year did you start pursuing that you knew you just wanted to pursue football? Because, a lot of growing up with Iranian parents is kind of tough because they just expect you everything to just be focused on education. So from what age did you know that this was the time for me to pursue, football as my career?
I wasn't aware of my talent like that. I was playing in a small club with all my friends, like most people do when they're younger. And suddenly the Danish national team, they had 2 different. Denmark is split up. We have something called Sealand and we have something called Jutland. And I lived in Sealand, which is where Copenhagen is based. And they started recruiting players for a union team or the becoming of a national team. On the 16 national team, and I got called up for some trainings with 100 other guys, and that was the first time I started to think of football as a way of living. I went to these trainings, and they start to pick out players and select them for a team, and I was still inside the team at the end, and suddenly we had a big tournament where the different unions played against each other. I went there, and after that, the first under 16 national team was pronounced, and I was inside the squad. And at that moment, I knew that I had to go to a bigger club to pursue my dreams. And somehow I got in contact with Kim Vilfort, a former player in Brøndby, big player, played many national games, played many cup games for the club. And somehow I got into Brøndby's youth department. I think it was around the time when I was under 17 player. I just started playing under 17. So I guess I was 14 or 15 years old at that time. And from there on, it started at that time.
So I know you're a left back. Was that how that always has been the position that you predominantly played even as a young kid?
No, not at all. When I was younger, when we were playing like five-a-side, I used to be in the goal actually in the first half, and then in the second half, I switched with another guy and played as a striker because I was pretty fast compared to my friends at that time. Later on, I started playing central defender, but because of my height, I think they quickly found out that they need to place me somewhere else, and that's how I got to play left back.
But then I know you used to play for Bronsby, but now supposedly they send you on loan to this new club here, which they're doing. You guys are doing very well in the division. I believe you guys are fourth place. How was that experience like? And then we're also gonna be discussing about what's very interesting. That I found really interesting was that you've played for so many youth levels for the national team in Denmark. And how has that experience been for you?
Let's start with the youth experiences. Yeah. We had a very talented under 19 and under 17 team in Brøndby. We won medals every year. We had national players in almost every position. It was normal to be in the national team at that time. I've played 31 national games in the youth level from under 16 until under 20. It's always been a big pleasure to play with the national team because you play with some of the best players in your age. You get to play against some of the best teams in the world. You get a lot of experiences throughout the journeys you make, the new players you meet, the new cultures you meet. You go to new countries that you wouldn't have gone to by yourself, but because of the football thing, then you go and you experience that. So it's been like a gift for me to have the possibility to play in the national team, and because of me being raised up in Denmark, I've always considered myself more Danish than Iranian, even though I speak Farsi. And I think I saw myself going into the national team of Denmark as a normal way of proceeding. But I had a hard time in Brøndby. We were struggling in the end of the table actually, which was not normal for a team of that caliber. And I got in and out of the team. I was a young player, so I had a hard time to continue that dream. And actually, I've always been quite open to like entering the team millie in Iran, and it's been hard for me because I don't have the contacts in Iran to actually pursue that dream, but since I've been playing and doing good here in Denmark, especially the last 2 years, I've been improving my game a lot, and it's becoming more and more realistic for me to somehow get in touch with the offices of officials of the team.
Right. So what's interesting enough is under Carlos Queiroz, what he's done is that he's been recruiting a lot of Iranians that grew up overseas in a different country. As if you look at the team Melli now, which I'm pretty sure you've been watching the matches. Yeah. So it's interesting that they have never gotten an official contact from even for the youth levels for the Iranian national team at all.
No, not at all. And I don't know. I think there's a lot of players running around in overseas countries, as you mentioned, and I think it's a lot of work that you have to do to find these players somehow. I think you need some reaction the other way around as well, like from the player to the federation. Otherwise, it's going to be hard for the Iranian team to find all these players.
My next question that I have for you, this might be a little bit weird. Let's say, like, obviously, you feel more, you're rooted with your Danish roots and stuff as opposed to being Iranian. So, for example, if Denmark gave you the opportunity to play for them instead of Iran, and you had both of these offers from them, you would still pick Denmark.
Oh, that's a hard one. that's a hard one. I would. It depends though. It depends on the future aspects of it, because if I can see myself going into the team just once, then it doesn't make any sense to choose that team. But if I can see myself as a part of the team in the future, I would definitely choose that team. So without giving you a straight answer, I would probably say that.
My next question I have for you, Daniel, is that, just you playing for all these, for Denmark and various youth levels. What's interesting to me is that, you've played for under 16, 17, 18, 20. So even for your own country, did you ever not even get like a call up or anything? Which is really weird for me to see that, because you have so much experience on the youth level in various age groups for Denmark, and it's very interesting for me to see that how hard it is to get into the national team, and it's not that supposed. Even you have 31 caps for youth level. How's that been?
Yeah, I think it's Denmark. Let's just talk about them. Denmark is not a big country,
Yeah.
And beside me, I don't know how many players with Iranian pass or who have the possibility of going to play in the Iranian team are running around in the pitches. It's so hard to say. But the reason why I started to have these thoughts of going to the team Melli is because there's a Danish guy. He went to New Zealand to play with them because he had parents or grandparents from New Zealand, and that kind of made his career, because he went to the World Cup. He had a good World Cup with them, and after that he got sold to West Ham. His name is Winston Reid.
Okay, yeah, I know Winston.
West Ham now,
yeah,
and
top center back.
Yeah, exactly, and he was playing in Denmark, and I think he had the same opinion on football like me. Like, he wanted to stay in Denmark and pursue the Danish dream, but somehow he got in contact with the New Zealand Federation, and he went there and he played, and it really put his career on fire, and now he's playing in the Premier League.
Right. The next question I have for you is that, let's say you do get this offer from the Iranian national. Is it because of who the manager is currently, Carlos Queiroz, or is it just because you've seen them, recruiting so many basically Iranians overseas and giving them proper chance to come and help the national team? Because usually with the Iranian national team is that we have so many domestic players, And what's interesting with Carlos Queiroz is that he's been recruiting, Iranians overseas to bring another dimension to the style of footballing game. Is that one of the reasons why that you believe that it's because of Carlos Queiroz has motivated you, or did you always feel that, yeah, listen, if Denmark doesn't work for me, it doesn't matter whoever is going to be the next manager, even if it's a domestic manager in the Iranian national team, I want to pursue that goal?
For me, it's hard, because you're never going to choose the coach or the manager that you're going to have or work with. That's up to the board. That's up to people above your salary. With that said, I think that Carlos Queiroz is a great manager. I love Manchester United. I followed him. I followed Sir Alex Ferguson at that time, and I think that having the chance of working with a talented manager like that, you need to take that chance, man. I think he has a lot of things that you can use, and you can use not just right here and now, but you can use throughout your whole career. And if Carlos Queiroz is sacked and a new manager comes in, the new manager probably also have some things that I can use for my career, or as well as the other players. So I think no matter who you have as a manager, good or bad things, you're always going to learn something.
Right. My final question I have for you, Daniel, is that, obviously you're playing for a European club. Would you ever take the offer of playing for even maybe an Iranian domestic club in Iran, by any chance?
Yeah, of course I would, because with contracts, it's always depending on many things, just not the contract itself, but many things around the contract as well. But if I get a chance or an offer or anything in that region, like from Asia or Iran or China or whatever, I would definitely look into it and see what kind of possibilities I would have, because I'm not stupid. I know that playing in the Iranian league would heighten my chances of entering the team Melli. And I think that especially China, the level in China has improved. Like the football level, the players they bring in, the money they have in the football, all of these things have made that they're actually getting more and more compatible in compared to European football. And I think that Iran, step by step, is actually also taking that way of following the Asian football in general. And I think that, I forgot to say this before, but I think that Iran has a rare chance of, or not rare, but they have an easier way of entering the World Cup than, for example, Denmark have.
Yeah.
And being able to play World Cup football every time or every fourth year, it's a good way of getting yourself exposed, and that's what football players want, and me as well. So I think that it would be good for me to first of all prove my game, but also expose myself in that part of the world, because in Denmark people know who I am, but in Iran or Asia nobody knows who I am yet.
You know, it's funny you say that, because I hope it does happen, because the Team Melli right now, we have a lot of left back issues, and to see predominantly Danish Iranian footballer, hopefully in the future we could expose that, and we don't have to get exposed in that segment of the field. But Daniel, thank you again, my friend. I hope to have you on again soon, maybe as a panel and stuff to talk about more, but you know, this is Gold Bazan. You know, we concentrate on a lot of Iranian football, like yourself, and players that are playing abroad, domestic, and which is, thank you for coming on the pod, and I appreciate it, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It was nice to get in a little bit of time in airtime, and I hope that it's not going to be the last time.
Definitely. Thank you.